Hi, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday and it's okay day. Go get it. There's not much sun, but let's start with greetings. Come on. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm your host.
Guy in the chair.
He said it. He said it.
And today we'll continue with hearing Crooked Drinker's thoughts. Go subscribe to Crooked Drinker too, by the way. He's a pretty funny guy. I don't know him, but I'd like to. But we'll hear his thoughts on Ghostbusters, The Frozen Empire. It was a pretty good movie, I thought, but let's see what he says. So, enjoy.
One of the mantras of modern entertainment has got to be, well, at least it isn't. A lot of films these days have managed to avoid a lot of well-deserved criticism simply by virtue of being slightly better than the absolute fecal matter that preceded them. Well, at least until that sweet, sweet dopamine rush dies down and the thinking part of your brain starts working again. So what if The Force Awakens was a tedious, unimaginative rehash of A New Hope with most of the brains and personality sucked out of it? At least it wasn't the prequels. So what if Prey was a dumb, pedestrian, unbelievable attempt to milk a dead franchise with a comically incompetent antagonist and a main character that was only one step above the tediously predictable girl bosses that are slowly stomping every major franchise into oblivion? What the hell, at least it wasn't The Predator. Ghostbusters Afterlife was an utterly shameless cash grab coasting on pure nostalgia bait and key jangling that completely abandoned the sharp, dry humor of the original and had nothing even resembling an original story. Well, at least it wasn't Ghostbusters 2016, am I right? And the thing is, I'm not excluding myself from this crap either, because I completely bought into the bullshit just as much as anyone else, and even gave the film a mildly positive review back in the day. But just like waking up from a 2-day bender with the world's worst hangover and a dead body on your bedroom floor, time and space have allowed me to see that film for exactly what it was. So I wasn't exactly thrilled at the prospect of Frozen Empire, another Ghostbusters movie, once again centering around a bunch of asshole teenagers that I don't give a shit about, while the original cast look on with the kind of strained good humor of Chris Hemsworth in Love and Thunder. Jesus, we waited like 30 years for a proper sequel to the second movie, and now they're churning out these low-effort knockoffs quicker than Marvel can crap out Disney Plus shows. Anyway, I digress. So let's start by answering a few simple questions, shall we? Is Frozen Empire better than Ghostbusters 2016? Yes. Is it better than Afterlife? Yes. Is it actually a good movie though? No. No, it isn't. I mean, it's definitely a step up from its predecessor in the sense that it actually tells a somewhat original story instead of just rehashing the first film beat for beat. It also gives the original cast a little bit more to do, rather than just showing up in the finale with absolutely zero explanation. And it once again brings the Ghostbusters back to their home in New York City, instead of setting the action in a fucking cornfield in the middle of nowhere. That's nice and all, but the film is ultimately let down by a generic villain that makes absolutely no impression at all, chronically unfunny jokes that fall flatter than Zendaya's chest, and a cast that's so overstuffed that none of them get the development they badly need. In short, it's a bad movie that's probably going to get cut a lot of slack because, again, it's slightly better than what came before it. Anyway, let's shit out this plot summary so we can all go home. So the film picks up a while after the events of the first movie. I don't know exactly how long because it never actually tells us, and I don't care enough to look it up. The point is that the Spenglers have magically relocated to New York City between the two films and are now working full-time as Ghostbusters, despite the fact that the only one with even a passing understanding of the technology they're using is Phoebe, the 15-year-old child genius who can instantly understand super advanced nuclear physics because of course she can. Because if there's one trope of modern cinema that we all absolutely love, it's the know-it-all teenage science prodigy with technical knowledge far beyond anything she could possibly have learned at such a young age. Anyway, the team get into trouble with the mayor because it turns out that driving down a crowded street in the middle of New York City indiscriminately firing particle beam weapons isn't the safest way to get around. Who knew? Phoebe then gets booted off the team because she's too young for Ghostbusting, and it's fucking insane when you realise that this only happens because the mayor forces them to do it. This film pitches him as the antagonist, but God knows why, he's by far the most responsible character in the entire movie. Like, her parents would have been totally chill with their 15-year-old daughter risking her life on a daily basis, using highly dangerous experimental technology to combat supernatural entities with unknown powers and abilities. Fuck off with this nonsense. I think we can all safely conclude that teenagers are annoying as fuck at the best of times, and the last thing I want is a whole bunch of them crowbarred into my Ghostbusters movie. Anyway, whatever. So Phoebe's down in the dumps now, but then she meets a female ghost named Melody and instantly gets the big gay for her. Although I have to admit the whole teen romance thing becomes a bit creepy when you realise the actress playing Melody is in her 20s now and looks like she's in her 30s. Also, how come when most people turn into ghosts they end up looking like this, or this, or this? But Melody looks exactly the same as she did when she was alive. It's almost like the writers are totally making up the rules as they go along. Ah, whatever, who cares? Meanwhile, problems are brewing at Ghostbusters HQ because the containment system's been storing ghosts for 40 years now and is in danger of overloads. And while all this is going on, Ray inherits a magical bullshit MacGuffin ball that actually contains the trapped spirit of an ancient demon god that can control other ghosts and freeze the entire world if it gets released. Wow, that sounds bad. Sure hope none of the characters do anything totally stupid that causes it to get released. So then Phoebe does something totally stupid by turning herself into a ghost so she can scissor with Melody or something, but that allows the demon thing to possess her physical body and release it from its prison, and then it freezes the entirety of New York City. So the Ghostbusters, old and new, have to work together to defeat the demon thing and save New York, and then everything goes back to normal despite all of the major characters being literally frozen solid, which I'm pretty sure would be fatal, but whatever. And that's it, that's the plot for Frozen Empire. If I had to pin down the single biggest problem with this movie, I'd say that it's just got way too much shit going on. There's too many subplots, too many different story branches, and way too many characters. The original movie worked so well because it had a tight, well-written cast who complemented and sparked off each other perfectly. Aside from the 4 Ghostbusters, the only significant players were Dana Barrett, Louis Tully, and Walter Peck. That's a grand total of 7 characters. And even then, Peck was marginal because he was just there to fuck things up. As a result, you got a lot more time to get to know everyone. They all had a purpose in the story and they felt like they belonged. This movie, on the other hand, has got no fewer than 4 teenage characters, the 2 parents, the 3 original Ghostbusters, gay ghost lady, and mystical Indian man. That's 11 major characters that the script has to juggle, and it just becomes impossible. There's no room for any of them to breathe. They don't get properly developed arcs, and most of them barely even get characterized. You could easily have dropped Trevor, Lucky, and Podcasts from the script and lost nothing of value because they contribute fuck all to this movie and they're all pretty annoying in their own way. Paul Rudd is equally wasted. He gets the barest suggestion of a character arc as he struggles to fit into a paternal role as Phoebe's stepfather, and there's one single dramatic scene where he has to lay down the law to her that actually felt real and honest. And I remember thinking at the time, they're totally gonna fuck this up with some stupid self-deprecating joke because we can't possibly have a strong fatherly figure putting our science genius girl boss in her place and get away with it. And sure enough, there it was. This right here is what happens when a whole generation of fatherless children grow up into neurotic, emotionally stunted adults and start writing movie scripts that have to deal with paternal relationships. The other aspect this film doesn't seem to know what to juggle are the original Ghostbusters, who just kind of hang around with no clear role in the story. What we really needed with these films was a passing of the torch kind of movie, where they have one last adventure and then definitively retire into the role of mentors and allow the next generation to take up the mantle. The problem is that we've never had this, and after 2 movies of them just kind of showing up whenever we need a nostalgia hit, it feels like it's too late to actually implement it. There's one single solitary scene between Ray and Winston where they talk about getting old and what to do with the time they have left, and it's great for what it is, but in isolation it doesn't amount to anything because it doesn't factor into a larger character arc. It's just thrown in there like so many other things in this film, including the gags. The original Ghostbusters is a film that can still make me laugh even today. So much of the humor was perfectly written, surprisingly dry and understated, perfectly timed and expertly delivered. It worked because it was smart as well as funny, and it expected the audience to be equally smart to keep up. Frozen Empire, on the other hand, falls squarely into the Marvel style of joke delivery, pitching its gags at preschooler level and then refusing to move beyond it. And well, it just becomes kind of depressing when you look at where we were and where we are now. Ultimately, Frozen Empire sits in that weird middle ground of the Ghostbusters franchise, not as obviously offensive to human dignity as the 2016 movie, or as shamelessly opportunistic as Afterlife, but just kind of blandly boring and forgettable. A movie that seems to have arrived with little fanfare, trying to cater to an audience that doesn't seem particularly excited for it, but trading on the brand name just enough that it's probably going to make money. I'm willing to bet the studio have got like 5 more of these things planned, with a young cast that can spin this franchise out for decades, but I'd be lying if I said I was interested in joining them for the rides. I hate to say it, but Bustin doesn't make me feel good anymore. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey everybody, now I have to admit, I enjoyed the sequel. Yeah, it was better than 2016, but still, I liked it. It was funny how they made Ray Parker Jr. song canon in the story. Bustin made me look good. Yeah, but either way, I digress. I enjoyed the movie, but you may not have. And it doesn't matter, it's still a free country. But still, I hope y'all liked it. You want to see more of this and maybe hear that kind of stuff. Please don't forget to like it, comment down below, and then finally subscribe for more, and hit the notification bell or button to notify every time I post a new video, and share. Bye.